Sundays have always been sacred to me. It gives me a chance to spend time with my family, with my friends, to focus on my faith. And honestly, We Rest on Sundays is a platform that I've created to help you navigate the complexities of the world. I want to spend time having open, honest dialogue with mentors, friends and family, and individuals that I truly believe are exceptional. We're going to focus on love, career, marriage, parenting, and everything in between. And the primary goal here is for us to become the better versions of ourselves every single day. I want to thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on Sunday. Juwan, what's up, man? How are you?
Man, I'm good, bro. Busy, blessed.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you being here more than you know. Super excited just to spend some time with you, man. I've always been inspired by what you've been able to do, and really just the man that you are. Clark Atlanta graduate, born and raised in Chicago. I would say personally, you correct me if I'm wrong, writer, director, actor. It feels like you do a little bit of it all.
Yeah, I wear many hats.
Fashion designer.
Yeah.
Tailor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Familiar.
Yeah.
Familiar. I don't really do too much sewing myself, but you can definitely see like I have an expertise in that space.
Yeah, man, men's fashion. And you even helped me, man, with, getting some pieces together as well. Yeah. But again, I think you're a man of many skills, of many traits, high character as well.
Thank you.
So I'm really, really grateful that you're here today, man. But in your own words, tell me who Juwan is.
Man, I first got to start off by saying thank you. Appreciate you creating this space. Appreciate the platform. I've become a huge fan. And so being here is an honor. And then it's even more just impactful, bro. So thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure.
Juwan Mass, aware of many hats, but I would just like to sum it up by saying like I am confident, I'm competent, and I'm compassionate. That is really kind of like the mantra that kind of steers this ship I call life.
That's good, man. Really good. Well, tell me more about, you were born and raised in Chicago, single mother. Tell me about that journey, man, and also how you found Atlanta and Clark Atlanta specifically.
Yeah, man, my mother is the best. Is the best, bro. Like I can't even. You had the opportunity of meeting her.
Yeah, phenomenal woman.
Appreciate that. That's funny. She used to always read me Maya Angelou poems. So like you saying phenomenal woman, and Maya Angelou had a poem called Phenomenal Woman. But no, she is a single mother. She's from Mississippi. She moved to Chicago. And she met my father, and they had me, and then they were never together. So I always grew up with her and never felt like I was lacking. So I always think that she was great. You know what I mean? Just being able to manage that role and not feeling like I was not having this other person present. You know what I mean? Balancing that was such a beautiful thing. And then also, like, I used to celebrate her for it. Like, even on Father's Day, I would say, Happy Father's Day. You know what I'm saying? Like, not being, like, funny, but genuinely you are playing both roles, and it was great. She went to a HBCU, so I used to always travel with her. She went to Tougaloo College in Mississippi, and that's how I got acclimated to HBCU. She pledged Delta, and that's how I got introduced to Greek life. I really saw the Deltas and I saw the Qs, obviously, right? But when I got to Clark, I pledged Kappa. It's funny because my birthday is November 17th. It's like Q Founders Day. So it's just a tangled web we weave. But I couldn't go to Tougaloo. I needed a bigger city. I applied to a couple of other like smaller colleges in Illinois. But it was just like HBCU was kind of where I was going. Now Atlanta, that's a different story. Like I didn't know if it was going to be Atlanta, but my best friend, he applied to Morehouse and Clark. I applied to Clark and Morehouse. He got into Morehouse. I got into Clark. So we just came down and chose Atlanta, bro. Like, and it just worked out to be the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree with you anymore. And it's funny you sharing the, like the single mother journey, and you actually took me back because it's for me as well. Like, my mom, single mom, it was like she had to be my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if you dealt with the same things, but growing up, I had older cousins, male cousins that were just like, oh, he's going to be soft or he's going to be this. And lo and behold, I turned out all right. You know,
Yeah,
I believe,
yeah.
I believe, you know.
I was gonna say it's funny. So like, yes, I'm an only child biologically, but
Mhm.
my mother took in my cousins, so I felt like I was raised with an older brother and a younger brother. And that older brother was like that person. Like, you're not going to be soft for
Yeah.
not in those words, but to your point.
Mhm.
And it was just such a man. I look back on this now and like, oh man, I thank him so much for just introducing me to a certain level of like masculinity
Yeah.
that I didn't know I needed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's only like 4 or 5 years older than me, but like I really looked up to him and I really appreciate him for like putting that like backbone in me.
Yeah. It's important, man, to have those types of, I think, like mentors and guides, especially, you know, like 5 years today
Yeah.
at our current age is not a big deal, but like when you're a kid, it's significant.
Huge.
You know, it's
Like when you're 10 and somebody's 15, you're like,
well, we don't even speak the same
I'm not even
language.
supposed to be out.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's different. And I found that I didn't realize how important it was until later in life when you find yourself in those like I don't know you call them like life or death moments.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Where you're faced to make a tough decision,
Yep.
and you lean back to those moments that taught you fight or flight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yep. That's a good segue to my next question for you. Growing up, one of your childhood friends was Sandra Bland.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you know, with her passing, I just would really love to hear more about the impact that her journey, her story, her relationship with you really had on your life and the direction of your life, you know, after those events unfolded.
Man, the biggest lesson that I learned from the passing of Sandy was like cherish your friendships, cherish your relationships. I've known her since we were since childhood. We went to the same church. We were in a choir together. She was really like a daughter to my mother. You know what I mean? Like she was really close to the family. And then we kind of went our separate ways for college, and we didn't keep in touch as much, right? Maybe like happy birthdays, or we tap in like once or twice a year. Um, and so I was really rebuilding the relationship in 2013, 2014, 2015. I was really being intentional about rebuilding just the relationship with people in my life that I cared about. And she was one of those people. And I just never, it was one of those times where I heard the news and then realized like I wasn't intentional enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we don't have time. Like cherish those moments, talk to your people, tell them you love them, have those tough conversations. Like you're a man, you have really good friends. You may be in moments where you feel like to keep the peace, I'm not going to say anything. But those moments need to happen. Like one, it builds resentment in you possibly. And then two, like you're not giving that other person the option or even the ability to understand like who you are and where you're coming from. And so like, I just say, man, you got to have those moments. You got to make those things happen. And that's what I learned from knowing Sandy, from talking to Sandy. Never really thought her passing would be that impactful to like the world.
Yeah.
It was so monumental. I just remember navigating interviews after the fact. And I'm like, I'm not really here for the clicks. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt different to me. Like I know they're here for a story. Like we're outside our home church and like it's a memorial service and you got TV people, you got interviews, and it's like, yo, you knew Sandy, tell me about her. I'm like, I don't have nothing to say. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to, but this isn't about me.
Yeah.
This isn't about me. And so like, it was a group of us that were really close with her in church. And it was just like, we all were fortunate for her to be our sister. And I think that like, it taught us how to manage just platonic relationships with women as men. Man, it was just so much I learned from that. Like, cause I think as men, like we don't necessarily know how to navigate that space with female counterparts. A lot of times it's like, I mean, for lack of a better term, like it's overly sexualized, it's objectified, right? And like, how can you grow out of that? How do you manage this relationship with just like a good person? And I think Sandy was one of those people that allowed us to like see that initially. Man, it was dope.
Man, I appreciate you sharing that more than you know. You hit on a gem there, right? Like the facet of like the importance of relationships, right? Like whether it's man to woman, friend to friend, you know, like mentor, whatever it may be. I think that like you even have me thinking and challenging the way that I'm looking at a situation in my life right now. Like I have a
Okay.
friend that I adore, love dearly, but we just have grown apart. And like I've just kind of like left it over there, right? Like this somebody like, man, we've done life together.
Got you.
So rather than me just not like, I haven't just addressed it and like opened that door and to your point, given him the option to share like his perspectives, his thoughts, how he feels about it as well. And at a minimum, I feel like that's like what I owe him, you know, versus like me being the person that's like, man, out of sight, out of mind. I don't like, you can stay over there, I'll stay over there. Like that's corny. And it's me not being necessarily a great friend and showing up the way that I want to show up in those relationships that have been monumental in my life.
When I hear you express it though, like I think it's a middle ground. Like I think that like you offering yourself grace is important because you've owned the moment. Like you've identified what it is. And so now it's like you are creating the space it takes for you to do whatever you need to do while you're working through it or what have you. But like you've identified it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then like you can figure out how you want to have that conversation and what have you. But I think that like the tough part is acknowledging it and then even like accepting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's good, man. I appreciate it because now you have my head spinning. I'm like, all right, I got a little work to do, but I'm gonna put the work in. But let's talk about the AUC, man, because we both had a time, man, and you hit on it, right? Like for me, that was, I mean, arguably the high next to having kids, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But like the highlight of my life was those 4 years in the AUC, doing life with Morehouse, Spelman, Clark Atlanta students, and like really cultivating, developing these lifelong friendships, man. And you pledged Kappa at Clark Atlanta. So tell me more about just like that journey and how Clark treated you. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't share this as well, because I think at one point during your journey, you considered transferring to Morehouse.
I did.
So let's hear. Let's hear.
That's a fun fact for y'all that didn't know, for y'all at home. I did, bro. So like I said, my best friend and I both came down to Atlanta for college. And he went to Morehouse, went to Clark. And that's who I knew when I got to school. And so like we spent all the time together. Like outside of classes, I'm usually at Morehouse. Or his best friend had a car. So like if you know somebody with a car your freshman year, like you are in the game. You know what I mean? Like don't be the person with the car. Now you winning. That's the cheat code, low key. And so like all my time was really spent with the people at Morehouse in those relationships and like it was time almost the end of my first year. Like I was really just considering like transferring. And it was like I had built so many relationships at Morehouse and I just was like, man, I'm really here for this. But ultimately I chose to stay at Clark for two reasons. One, I realized I didn't give Clark the opportunity, right? Like I'm really focused on the environment that I had and the friendships that I built at Morehouse, but like that's not where I was, and that's not why I was here necessarily. Like you're not even trying your own institution, so let me give that a shot.
Yep.
And then the other thing was, and this is even deeper, in high school I changed schools, so I transferred high schools my freshman year because my friends went to another high school. And I'm like, that was great and all, but you also didn't give that a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to high school your freshman year and those you grew up with, you left and went to another school. And so I'm like, it just felt like I was doing the same thing over. And I'm like, I need to really give Clark a shot. And man, honestly, I wouldn't change it, bro. I wouldn't change it. Still kept the relationships at Morehouse. Actually ended up taking classes at Spelman. So like I was really able to try to get the full AUC experience. And it's nothing short of amazing. Like I tell people that like, if you can make it in the AUC, you can make it anywhere.
You got it.
You can make it anywhere. Like Clark, yeah, the AUC, I should say, is like it's own little college world.
Yep.
But it's in the city of Atlanta, and so you really got to navigate. When we got to school, the trenches, bro.
Dudes getting robbed on campus
all the time.
Yes.
Like folks coming down Fair Street, it was dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And so like you one navigating going to school, two navigating the hood, in this major metropolitan city, and so like I think Atlanta was just like this beautiful experience that I didn't know I needed. I really do. AUC, there's so much I can say just about the opportunities we're provided. Like even as just like Black men, you know, just seeing representation, seeing examples. Like I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do when I got to college. It wasn't until I was able to have exposure to all these different career fields. And so like people like Dr. Kimbrough at Clark Atlanta University. I don't know if you're familiar, but yeah, obviously he's a larger than life figure. He's so influential. And so like I would go back to school and still talk to him, but you know, he was majorly impactful. I'm talking about Dr. Kimbrough. If you're watching this, thank you for everything you did. Even the lyceums, but those not the most important things. It's the relationship we built outside of the class. And so I appreciate you. But I think that like Clark, never change it for the world. AUC, never change it for the world. I'm so grateful that like I was able to experience Morehouse and Spelman in that same way. Like I don't think a lot of people that went to Clark even knew they could take classes at other institutions, let alone even cross the gates to either one of them. So,
man, to your point, it's funny because I had the privilege where I was like, I want to experience it all, man. So I cross-registered at Clark, I cross-registered at Spelman. So I got a feel for all three schools, and it was life-changing for me, man. You know, like also being from the Midwest, like for me, I'll speak for myself, I didn't see that caliber of Black students at that volume, right? You have arguably between our three schools, maybe 12,000 students back then, all for the most part, like Black youth that are all striving to do this in their lives, in their careers, and in their personal relationships. So it was like nothing I had ever seen before in my life. And even now, like it's easy for me to look at my kids and be like, boy, I pray that they make the right decision. You know, like regardless of sports, I'm like, this is just a blessing. And being able to be around people like this and develop these relationships, you know, you're 2 years ahead of me in school, you know, but like we knew each other, we became friends. And like now we're 15 plus years removed from college and like we're still locked in. So it's like you create these strong foundational relationships that last indefinitely, right? So it's good to hear you just share your perspective, man, about it and the beauty of the AUC, man. It's a gift.
It's really about the relationships for me. Like growing up, I had core relationships. Like a lot of my friends were from church. That was kind of like my upbringing, and we known each other, bro. Some people since like we were 2 years old. So like we're still locked in. There's a group of us, 5 to 10 of us. Like we're still locked in. But then like I lost those relationships. Like I call them like, you know, like the dark times of that group of friends when I got to college. It's like blackout moments. I don't know what they were going through in life. Like I don't know just basically what they were going through. Just little things that, you know, you miss. But I got to Clark and I, to your point, formed new relationships. And now I got the same type of bond with people from all over the country. You get to Clark, you get to Morehouse, you get to Spelman, and you start finding friendships from people in New York, you know what I'm saying, LA, Texas, like, and you didn't even really know anything about these places other than music. Like the way we connected to like other states was through music and culture. And so like the relationships you built in the AUC is beautiful. Man, you know what's funny? So I actually did a pageant at Spelman, bro. I did a Mr. Sophomore pageant at Spelman, bro. I don't know what possessed me to try to go the pageant route.
You know what possessed you.
That's fair. That's fair. I lost, so if that says anything. if that's a good thing, yo, that was a real good experience though.
Yeah, no, man, it's funny, man. But no, thanks for sharing that, man. But let's start talking a little bit more about your career as well. So you are a co-founder of men's, is it women's as well?
It's not women's yet.
Okay,
It's
so
just
men's
menswear.
where Loren Spratt
Yep.
and man, y'all do a little of everything from suits, blazers, slacks, tuxedos,
Yeah.
the shirt that you're wearing today. And like I've been styled and purchased some clothing pieces from you, and it's exceptional. But just share more about like how you guys founded it, where it's currently at now, and like how did you even step into that space?
Um, Man, so Loren Spratt is an upscale made to measure menswear line for y'all. And we do weddings, we do proms, so tuxedos, suits. A lot of our clientele is pretty much like weddings and proms at this point, considering where like dress is in corporate
Mhm.
America and everyday life. Like not everybody's really dressing up. So this shirt is a reflection of that. It's one of our samples for like our casual, like ready to wear. But man, I got started because I've always just kind of been in men's style.
Mm.
Not necessarily before I knew what style was really, it was fashion. But like I thought there was a certain level of like trendiness to fashion that I didn't really kind of fall in line with. Not everything just resonated with me, but men's style was always important. And I think there's nothing more important in men's style than like a quintessential suit.
Mm.
Like you got to have it. It's necessity. You know what I mean? And a tuxedo. But that was an importance. And so when I got to college, I met my business partner. And Loren Spratt is actually an abbreviated version of his middle name and then his last name. So I was doing image consulting and styling, and I was just having I had the want to start a collection.
Yeah.
And so he was doing something similar, and like he had his was under Loren Spratt, and I just liked the name. I didn't have a working name, you know what I mean? So we just combined the skill sets, and like that was kind of birthed back in, man, probably like 2011, 2012. But it was like, man, it wasn't a business. Like, let's be honest, when you're just getting started, I'm just making clothes.
Yeah.
And then grateful if somebody's like, man, let me get a piece. You know what I mean? And so that really transpired to us doing like some major things, like doing Alvin Ailey spreads or promo shoots for television shows like The Game, and then even just our friends entrusting us to bring their wedding vision to life. So it's just so many moments that are fulfilling throughout this journey that I appreciate, because it's really, again, about relationships.
Mhm.
Like, I'm outside of our friendship, like now I was able to dress you.
Mhm.
Like we were able to really grow in our relationship,
Mhm.
because when you start talking about dress, like that's a vulnerable moment to certain people.
Yeah.
And then when I got to put that tape to you, like that tape measure, that'll make you feel some type of way, bro. Like,
Yes.
bro,
Yes.
that tape measure,
Yeah.
had you like,
I'm fatter than I thought.
no.
Yeah.
Or you start, no, you see, I was thinking about getting in the gym and like, how long you say it's gonna take to make this? Like, man, how much time I got? And so that tape is such like a reminder of like where we feel like we may be lacking.
Mhm.
So I just think that like when I get with people to have these moments, it's just great, man. It's just so authentic. It's such an honor. It's a privilege to kind of have that. And where we are now is trying to redirect the brand in a way that is reflective of who we are as individuals and also what the market demands. And so it's tough because where the market demands now is like you may be in a button up top and some basketball shorts down low. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're not looking to get a two-piece unless it's
Yeah.
for a particular event. And then when it's time for a particular event, we may not be the option for you because we require a certain turnaround time. You know what I'm saying? You're just getting it immediate, like you're trying to get it immediately.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's where we are. And I mean, I don't think, like I said, suits are going anywhere. So I think we have some a foundation that we can really grow off of and really build.
Yeah, it's good, man. And I think exciting. And to your point, like suits are not going anywhere. If I'm being honest with you, even with me, like in corporate America, we have gotten to the point where I currently work more relaxed and like I would deem it as like business casual, but
Yeah.
I think, they'll, yeah, to me, it feels like it's business casual, but I'm never the person I don't ever wear polos to work personally, like ever. Because to me, I'm like, no, 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 I'm dressing for the job that I desire,
Fair.
not necessarily what the rest of the audience is doing. So at a minimum, you're going to see me in a blazer, period.
Period.
Like, or a nice sweater in a vest, right?
Yeah.
Like something that looks a little bit higher up. So I think that like again, it's funny, man. I put on those custom jackets that I got made through to this day, man. And it's funny because when we did the tape back then, I was 20 pounds heavier than what I am today.
Okay. So yeah,
So
you moving in the direction positive.
you got it. You got
as
it.
you get older.
You got it. Have to, man. But no, it's good, man. Can you share just a little bit about like how like being in fashion really helped you because you stepped into like wardrobing for a little bit as well. How did you step into that space and what avenues and doors did it open up for you?
Yeah. So I had a mentor in college, and he was in the fashion space. So that was my introduction. I used to just do styling with him. I was working with clients with him. He had a boutique in Midtown at the time, and he needed one of his colleagues came in town and needed an assistant for a television show. Like she was styling. Actually, it was called costume design. Costume. She was a costume designer. Excuse me, and she needed an assistant here in Atlanta. And he put me in touch with her and was like, "It's funny, man." He was like, "Man, I'm really reluctant to give you to her because I know how great you are, but also I know if I introduce you to this industry, you probably won't leave."
Wow.
And he was like a prophet in that sense.
Wow.
That really, I went and get my first gig with her in 2009, 2010. And that was like when BET was first bringing like original programming here. I was doing wardrobe, styling contestants on game shows to guest on Monique's The Talk Show and the band. And like, man, that just catapulted me into a completely different career field that I didn't even know existed. Like I knew what a stylist was, but I didn't know there was somebody responsible for actually dressing people on camera and then building characters through wardrobe on camera. And like, then you realize like what your attire may say before you actually speak and how people receive you. And that was in that space of costume design and wardrobe. I did that for almost 10 years and then transitioned to still being in that space. But now I produce and create and write for in front of the camera positions as opposed to behind the scenes.
Man, great segue because that's where I wanted to go next, right? My question really correlates to produce, write, direct, act, or I mean, I will call it acting. I don't know if necessarily what you call it, but how did you find really just like your entry into the industry, right? And being more in front of the camera versus like being the guy that's styling the people behind the camera.
That was man, it was I never really saw myself in front of the camera. It was somebody taking the initiative to say, "Yo, you look good on camera." And so I'm like, "Oh, okay." That was always just in the back of my mind. And then my business partner with the clothing line, we came up with a show, and we weren't initially going to be in it. We were simply just trying to create this product that we didn't see. That show was called Ghost Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
It is television's first Black paranormal investigative trio. So left field, so out of the pocket, so pioneering, like all these things that did not anticipate. And we were like, man, let's just put this out here. Maybe we can find some other Black paranormal investigators who could do this.
Yeah.
And man, we couldn't find it. Couldn't see it. And we shot a sizzle down in Savannah, put it on YouTube, and bro, shelved it. Like he moved to LA. I stayed in Atlanta. This was probably in 2010. Man, it wasn't until like 5 years later we got a network reached out and was saying like, we're looking for Black paranormal investigators. And we were like, and they were like, what have you found? And it was just like, yo, you're looking at what we found. We are what we found.
The market.
Yeah. And so like, never did I know that I was ultimately who I was searching for.
Wow.
Right? Never did I realize that if somebody were to tell me your wildest dreams will come true in 5 years, would I have the patience to wait?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So like that, I mean, it's all retrospect. Like I didn't, in real time, I was like, man, what am I doing? In real time, I was just really taking a leap of faith because I went from doing wardrobe to transitioning to this, and I stopped doing this. Like I stopped doing wardrobe, like cold turkey, to just go do this in front of the camera stuff. Took pay cuts, took like changed my, like really uprooted my life, went to living on the road. Like now I got this one bedroom that I'm trying to figure out how to, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of changes. And man, it was like so fulfilling. So fulfilling. And I felt like I just reaped what I sowed in that moment, man. Like, and I'm still kind of doing that.
Yeah.
Still in that.
It's dope, man. And it's really inspiring because it's like my next question is kind of a two-part question, right? Like the first part is like, how did you have the confidence and the courage to take that leap of faith, right? Like like pay cut all of the things, right? Is the first part. The second part is now y'all have been doing this and recording Ghost Brothers for 5 seasons. How many
Yeah, it's been, we probably have like 3 different iterations of like 5 seasons and 2 other shows, like of a spin-off type concept. But yeah, I mean, the leap wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
I felt like I was still young. Felt like I could probably, you know, if all else fails, I can get it all back. The beautiful part about that leap was I wasn't doing it alone. Like I was doing that with my best friend at the time. You know what I'm saying? And to do that with somebody that you trust just makes things, I would say, it makes them a lot more palatable.
Yeah.
Let's say that. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it definitely makes it something that like you might be able to stomach a little easier.
Yep.
And so like that leap of faith is just kind of like, man, we're going to do this. Like, let's just jump. And we jumped. And it took off. It was like to a stratosphere that we just didn't know. Like we had 2 seasons on Destination America. That left, we navigated, I'm talking about a merger through network to where they dropped that show. Then we go through, come up with a new show, pitch that show. And then now we're introduced into like what it looks like to sit down with production companies and have those conversations. And then we go to the network and be like, yo, this is the new play. And then that show comes back. Then a new merger happens. Like there's so much that I didn't realize was like impacting or affecting just the success of our show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't realize how much like corporate structures have the influence on that. You know what I mean? And like, I'm like, dang, how do we get to a place to where you're not necessarily reliant on that?
Yep.
And that's kind of like my hustle just kind of stepped in. Like I need to continue to diversify, right? Like that's why I still had the clothing line. You know what I mean? That's why I just made other entrepreneurial investments and made sure that like I couldn't just be relying on this, but like it's still rocking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
We are fortunate enough to be like, I feel like now I'm at a point where I am, in a sports analogy, I'm at a point where like I'm a player and an analyst.
Yeah.
So like I'm still in the field. I'm still putting up shots. I'm still like in the game. But now like they'll call me and I got to review footage of other people putting up shots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I'm sitting back like looking at somebody else's game highlights and be like, oh, you know, I probably would have did it this way, or oh, I see what they did here, and then just offer some insight. So it's just such an interesting perspective to kind of be in.
Yeah, it's dope, man. It's so dope. And another perfect segue, because to your point, what you were saying is, you know, there might be seasons where like things are going really well when it comes to like TV and film, but then you may have seasons where like it's slow or a downturn or the show gets dropped and you're like, we got to pitch a new idea. I think that, however, though, is that you're a person that always keeps balls in the air and like continues to move forward is what I believe. You're a man that carries himself like that. You had the privilege of bringing Harold's Chicken, which is, again, headquartered and founded in Chicago, to Miami. Can you share more about that deal and how it transpired and how it went down for you?
Yeah. So, man, was able to bring the first Harold's Shrimp and Chicken, to Miami. So dope, just being from Chicago, just being able to provide the beach, because it was in South Beach, to be able to provide the beach with that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That was that was so huge in a moment, but it goes back to relationships. Some guys I went to high school with, they were navigating the deal in Miami, and he had asked me to come aboard from like an investment standpoint, and I was like, absolutely. Like, more so about, I just wanted to be in the restaurant space. I thought it was a really good play. I think more importantly, when you're doing something like chicken, pizza, I think these items, they have to be really good to sell, right? Because there's so many. Or two, you have to come with a name.
Yep.
And I knew we had both.
Yep.
Right? Like, if you're just gonna say, I'm gonna open Ben's Chicken.
Right. Good luck.
Great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I wish you the best on that journey. But like, if you like, yo, I'm gonna do this recognizable brand, this Harold's, and we got good chicken. I know we do. I stand behind it. I grew up on it. Let's go for it. And man, we opened 2020. We opened Super Bowl weekend in 2020. It was crazy. Like, it took off. We had people like 50 in there watching the fight.
Wow.
Yeah, we had so many different celebs, but then it became like this big place to go for spring break. I mean, just navigating so many people.
Yeah.
And ultimately COVID hit. And that just took a huge impact on the business. And then we went through some changes and management shifted, and I was just kind of like presented with the opportunity to kind of transition. And so I just transitioned out. The restaurant's still there. But like, it was such a great learning opportunity. It was great to be a part of another first in my life. I think that in my journey, bro, I didn't realize how many things I was going to be starting or pioneering, right? And that's just like, I have to at times remind myself, like, yo, like Hov said it, sometimes you just got to be the pioneer of this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you just got to be humble enough to keep moving forward and acknowledging the blessing that you've been bestowed like with to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, man, how do you keep it going?
Yeah.
What's the next move?
Yep.
What are we doing?
Yep. Yeah.
That ambition could also drown you. Like, you're like, become overwhelming.
Yeah. So can you, and that's a really good, area that I want to lean into, is like, you are a person that lives a purpose-driven life. You're a person that has a high drive and a high motor. And I think a person that, like, again, you were like, that's very ambitious and you're not scared to put up shots. But like, how do you continue to stay balanced and to navigate all of those things, right? We just listed 3-4 different irons that you've had in the fire, being a pioneer in spaces, learning new skill sets, new areas, new industries, right? How do you continue to stay balanced within your life, spiritually, physically, emotionally?
So much. Like, one of the biggest influences was, I did a cleanse, and it was just like a spiritual cleanse. And so I just decided to, like, I really came across this herb, and it was just all about cleansing your liver. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, am I by no means recommending this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want, this is not, but, so the herb was milk thistle, and the cleanse was just talking about like doing no animal products. I mean, like, so no meat, no dairy, no eggs, gallon of water a day, no alcohol, no processed sugars. And so I did that cold turkey. I just started it. And while I was on it, I picked up the book, Purpose Driven Life, Rick Warren. And in that, it was supposed to be 30 days. Purpose Driven Life is a little bit longer than 30 days. Finished it, and I just didn't stop. Like, I ended up doing, I don't know, 3-4 months, and that just changed my perspective immediately. Like, my clarity got better, not to mention just understanding what purpose was.
Yeah.
What I needed to create in my life to even sustain purpose.
Yep.
And so I did that, got into therapy. That was helpful to start to like compartmentalize and organize and then process some of these things that I was dealing with in life. So I then had to start loving myself. And loving myself looked like creating boundaries. And then being disciplined enough to like maintain those. And so it became extremely important for me to have to like step away from certain things and realize what was for me. Like in the workspace, it's like, yo, I may not be able to take on all tasks. Like, you got to give yourself space for you to even live how you want to live. Not necessarily receive something else, but just to find peace. Like, I think we get so comfortable in trying to do so much that chaos starts to look like peace because you're able to navigate that space so well. But that's still chaos. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, how can I just quiet the noise? Like, what does that do? And doing that was important for my spiritual. It then became important for my mental because like I realized those two are connected. Then like, what's my physical look like? My physical is like, all right, let me start getting in the gym. You know what I mean? Let me start taking care of my body a little bit better. I'd never even I didn't go back to meat. So like now I'm still not doing that. I'm really practicing more of a plant-based journey. And that's been the most difficult thing I've had to do just because of like the temptation that I face from my subconscious desires. Those things that like you never really even knew you did. Like I was always on chicken because my family was on chicken. That I was always on seafood. Like my family's from Mississippi. Like I'm always going to want to eat seafood. I didn't realize, like I never made a conscious decision to eat seafood. Like I wasn't like, oh, let me not eat seafood because I don't like the way this tastes. Like, what is this doing for my body? Just asking those questions. So like physically, that kind of made my kind of journey a little bit more complete. So like that spiritual, that mental, that physical is just all and has to be in alignment. Whether you want to do well in work, whether you want to do well in family, you know what I mean? I don't have kids or a wife or anything. So like, I'm not sure what that looks like, but I am valuing relationships. And I know that like those take work. Like you can't give to a relationship fully if you're not giving to yourself fully. So like all those things just kind of like played a huge role, man.
It's good, man. It's good. Really, really sound advice, man. I appreciate you sharing that part of your journey because I think it's motivating for people that just are on that edge, right? We all go through seasons where we're like, I know I should be doing this, but I'm not. And I hope that pushes and inspires a few people to step over that edge to like, hey, let me lock in a little bit more and focus on like my health, both spiritually, physically, and emotionally as well. I think it's very, very important, man. 2 more quick questions for you. So what's next for Juwan, man?
What's next? I think I would want to, man, I want to create. Just want to continue to create, bro. I want to open a new restaurant. I want to start a new show. Man, I want to have a family. I want to continue to pour into like the people that pour into me. And I just am trying to create the space and align myself with those things because I think I can have it all.
Yeah, man.
I really do.
You can, man. It's really good. And I'll encourage you with the family part as well, because I think you don't see it or feel it now, because again, you don't have kids in this current season and moment in your life, but knowing you and the man that you are and the character that you carry yourself with every single day, you're going to be an exceptional father, bro. Like, I know that to my core, and there is nothing better, like no better job title, no better role that I serve in than being a dad. Like,
Nice.
it is so rewarding, very challenging, but it forces you to grow, and like it teaches you so many new blind spots that you have in your life, man. So I love to hear you say that that's on your mind, man. And you like, it will come whenever it comes. There's no rush there, but I know you're going to be great at it, man. But my last question for you, what would current Juwan say to 18-year-old Juwan? Any advice, any game, any things that, any watch outs, etc.?
Current Juwan say to 18-year-old Juwan. Man, I think I would say, dang, that's tough. That's really tough, because it's like, there's so much I want to say, and I can just sum it up by, like, I think an old head told me, bro. He was just like, just keep on living.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's old. I got an old soul. I like old heads when they say stuff like that. Like, man, don't take no wooden nickels. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even know what that means when you're young, but like when you get older, you start to realize, yeah. Like, you ain't gonna catch no fish watching my pole. You know, little stuff like that. You like, man, what does that mean? And so it's just, in life, I would just tell myself, man, it is okay to make mistakes. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay to not have it all figured out. It's okay to, man, congratulate yourself. It is okay to highlight yourself. It is okay to, like, show love as a man. Like, it is okay to just figure out who you are. It is okay to say no. Like, I would tell myself all these things. And maybe it's all at once, or maybe it's just like, if I ever have a son, maybe it's just in those moments in life.
Yep.
Like, there's going to be moments where you have to navigate each one of those things.
Yep.
Each one of those. And I would say just do that. Just know that it is okay. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, man. Listen, I appreciate you more than you know. And I kind of shared a little of this story with you when we were talking and planning for this time together. But man, you really encouraged me in a season of when I was like really first starting. We rest on Sundays, and it to this day like continues to mean the world to me. So one, I want to like double back on that, and also share with you how much I appreciate you leaning into the relationship and having the courage to pull me to the side and start the conversation. But we were at Draw Bar, with celebrating a close friend's birthday, and you literally pulled me to the side and you're like, man, what you're doing is really dope, man. Like, it's really inspiring. I like it. And like, I could feel how, like to my core, like how honest you were about it, how much you felt like it was connecting with you, and like really just like your vision of like, dude, keep going, like, and the encouragement behind it. And I think that like more Black men need more of that, because as you know, like, I haven't been in this creative space as long as you have, right? Like, so you've been able to work through some of the kinks of like that self-doubt. You've been able to work through just a lot of the journey that comes with it. And I'm right now like working through the self-doubt, working through like, is this connecting? Is it resonating? And in literally that night, it was God, but then also like your confidence of like pulling me to the side. I needed to hear that more than you know, because I was like, man, am I talking to myself? You know what I'm saying? And I just appreciate it, man. I appreciate the brotherhood. I appreciate you being authentically yourself every single time, dude. You show up the same way.
Appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? And it means the world to me. And I know that it means the world to others whose lives you touch. And like, you don't have to make the time for me. You have a lot of stuff going on. You have TV shows, you know what I'm saying? You still have your clothing brand. business ventures, ideas that you're working on and creating. So I'm grateful for you and the brotherhood, the relationship that we've been able to create. I'm grateful for the man that you are. I hope that your mother continues to be proud of you and everything that you do. And anything I know, man, and anything, however I can help in serving you, please know I will.
Man, appreciate that. That is well received. You know, I can say so much, but I'll just say thank you for creating this space. Thank you for creating We Rest on Sundays. And thank you for allowing me to be here, bro. This is amazing.
Man, I appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely.
Take
Love
care,
you,
bro.
B.
Love you too, man.